napae beara Haha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Haha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Kripa Bolo Panna Koro Ami Bharatuki Kripa Bolo Panna Ami Bharatuki Kripa Bolo Kanna Koro Ami Bharatuki Kripa Bolo Kanna Koro Ami Bharatuki Daya Koro Sitapati Advaita Gosai Jaya Koro Sitapati Advaita Gosai Jaya Koro Sitapati Advaita Gosai Tava Kripa Bhole Pai Chaitanya Nitai Tava Kripa Bhole Pai Chaitanya Nitai Tava Kripa Bhole Pai Chaitanya Haha Swarup Sanatan Rupa Raghunath Haha Swarup Sanatan Rupa Bhata Yoga Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanath Bhata Yoga Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanath Bhata Yoga Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanath Prabhu Lokanath Dhaya Koro Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Dhaya Koro Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sangamage Narasimha Ramachandra Sangamage Narasimha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kara More 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 Toma Vina Dayalu Jagata Samsari Jagata samsari Roma Vina Jagata samsari Nitai Gaur Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaur Hari Bo Nitai Gaur Hari Bo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vallabha Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We're reading the Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge, text number 20. Tattva karma pala sangam. Tattva karma pala sangam. Nitya tripto nirashraya. Nitya tripto nirashraya. Karmani abhipravritopi. Karmani abhipravritopi. Naiva kinchit karoti sa. Naiva kinchit karoti sa. Tattva karma pala sangam. Nitya tripto nirashraya. Karmani abhipravritopi. Naiva kinchit karoti sa. Tattva karma pala sangam. Nitya tripto nirashraya. Karmani abhipravritopi. Naiva kinchit karoti sa. Yes? Chant?
Tattva karma phala sangam. Nitya tripto nirashaya. Karmanyati pravritopi. Naiva kinchit karoti sa.
Messages?
Tattva karma phala sangam. Nitya tirto nirasraya. Karmanya pripavritopi. Naiva kinchit karoti saha.
Tattva. Tattva karma pala sangam.
Nitya tirto nirasraya. Karmanya pripavritopi. Naiva kinchit karoti sa.
Naiva kinchit karoti sa. Tattva, having given up. Karma pala sangam. Oh, Krishna. This handphone. Karma pala asangam.
Karma-pada sangam.
Attachment for fruitive results.
Attachment for fruitive results.
Nitya.
Nitya.
Always.
Always.
Tripta.
Tripta.
Being satisfied.
Being satisfied.
Nirashraya.
Nirashraya.
Without any shelter.
Without any shelter.
Karmani.
Karmani.
In activity.
In activity.
Abhipravrita.
Abhipravrita.
Being fully engaged.
Being fully engaged.
Api.
Api.
In spite of.
In spite of.
Na.
Na.
Does not.
Does not.
Eva.
Eva.
Certainly.
Certainly.
Kinchit.
Kinchit.
Anything.
Anything.
Karoti.
Karoti.
Do.
Do.
Sa.
Sa.
He.
He.
Translation. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities. Ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This freedom from the bondage of actions is possible only in Krishna consciousness, when one is doing everything for Krishna. A Krishna conscious person acts out of pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he has no attraction for the results of the action. He is not even attached to his personal maintenance, for everything is left to Krishna. Nor is he anxious to secure things, nor to protect things already in his possession. He does not, he does his duty to the best of his ability and leaves everything to Krishna. Such an unattached person is always free from the resultant reactions of good and bad. It is as though he were not doing anything. This is the sign of akarma, or action without fruitive reaction. When any other action, therefore, devoid of Krishna consciousness, is binding upon the worker, and that is the real aspect of vikarma, as explained herein before. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raganathan Vitam Tam Sajevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Nitamscha Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Koranke Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasade Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Lord Krishna is describing about how a person in full knowledge will act. In other words, as Prabhupada explains, he must be Krishna conscious, because it describes that he acts without attachment to the results of his activities. The only people who can do that are devotees. Everyone else, they want to enjoy the result of their activities. Bhukti mukti siddhikame sakale ashanta. Krishna bhakti niskam sa esha shanta. So bhukti, people have material desires. They want to enjoy their sense gratification. Bhukti mukti, people want liberation. That is also for their sense gratification. Siddhi, they want yoga siddhis. That is also a material desire. So bhukti mukti siddhi kami sakale ashanta. All these people are not peaceful because they all have material desires. When you have material desires, you'll not be peaceful. So Srila Prabhupada says, these people who are detached from the fruits of their actions, they must be Krishna conscious. They have to be full devotees of Krishna. That is the only way they can be free from the attachment to the results of their work. Nobody else is free. Only the devotees can work without attachment to the results. Then those people who are not devotees, they're all attached. They're working for the result. They want to enjoy the result of their work. They're thinking, what will you give me? What will you pay me? We want something in exchange for our work. But a Krishna conscious devotee is detached. Prabhupada said, he doesn't even worry about his own maintenance. He just leaves everything depending on Krishna. So we saw this nice example in Srila Prabhupada, how Srila Prabhupada could go to America with no money. Going to America, he had no money at all, and he came off the boat. Oh, before he got off the boat, he sold a set of books to the captain of the ship, Captain Pandya. And Captain Pandya generously gave him $20. So that was the only money he had, American money, $20. Prabhupada said, that's just a few hours spending money in New York. Well, anywhere. Nowadays, I was just in Dubai. In Dubai, they have a rule there. Anybody coming in the country, they must possess at least $1,000. Otherwise, they don't want you to come, to get in the country. So, you could imagine Prabhupada went to America with no money. Of course, that was 1960s, but he got in and he was able to be successful to establish the Krishna consciousness movement. Prabhupada never worried about what people would give him. He never asked people for money. He just depended on Krishna. Krishna would send people to be engaged in his service. So Prabhupada showed the example of a person who's completely detached from the results of his work. That is very important in Krishna consciousness. We have to work, but we have to work depending on Krishna. In the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes what our mood should be. Lord Krishna, of course, is speaking to Arjuna, and he's telling Arjuna, Karmani evadikaraste mapalishu kadachan. That he's telling Arjuna, your adhikar, your qualification, Arjuna, Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, your qualification is to work, and your work is to fight. That is what you're meant to do. So Lord Krishna said, fight and don't be attached to the result. Mapalishu kadachana. Do your duty and don't be attached to the result. And then Lord Krishna goes on and said, Karmani evadikaraste mapalishu kadachana na karma palaheturbur mate sangosva karmani. He says, never consider yourself to be the cause of the result, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So sometimes, if we get a good result, we will think, oh, I did it, I got a good result, I did very nicely, it was well made, I'm very great. Or sometimes you feel very bad, I got a bad result, oh, I failed, I blew it, I didn't do good. But we're not responsible for the results. The results are arranged by Krishna. And then Krishna also said, never be attached to not doing your duty. Just like Arjuna, he didn't want to do his duty. He didn't want to fight in the battle. But he should do it. It was his duty. So never be attached to not doing what you're supposed to do. Attachment is the cause of bondage. We should work for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. In the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes Karma Yoga. Yagnartat karmanan yatra loko yam karma bandhana tadartam karma kontiya mukta sangha samacharam. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, that work binds you to the material world. Therefore, perform your work and never be attached. So we have to work. Nobody can be idle, not even for a moment. All men are forced to act helplessly due to the impulses of the modes of nature. So we should work according to our duty. Do what we're expected to do. But don't be attached to the result. Do it for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. Right? Perform your duty for his satisfaction. That is called Yajna Vai Vishnu. Perform the yajna. Work is also a yajna. It's a great sacrifice to work, to do things. Whatever we do, do it for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. And that way we won't get any reaction from the work. Otherwise, all the work we do will bring reactions. There will always be reactions to the work. We do something, every breath, every step we take, you get some karmic reaction on it. Therefore, we have to always try to be in Krishna consciousness. Because karma means you will keep us in the material world. We have karma, we all have karma. Some good karma, some bad karma. The good karma we enjoy, we like it, pleasing to us. And the bad karma gives us pain, suffering. Oh, and we're unhappy. We don't like the bad karma. We like the good karma. But karma, both karmas, both kinds of karma keep us in the material world. So we want to get free of karma. There are 3 different levels of action. There is karma, vikarma, and akarma. Vikarma means the sinful activities. when we don't act according to the scriptures, we go against the principles, then you get reactions. When we deviate from Krishna consciousness, then we get reactions for that. We may say, I didn't know it was wrong. I didn't know I did wrong. But whether you know or not, you still get reactions. Just like the child doesn't know he's going to get burned when he puts his hand in the fire. But if you put their hand in the fire, then they will certainly get burned. They didn't know, but that ignorance is no excuse. When you go to the court of law, if you've done something wrong, you tell the judge, I didn't know. The judge will say, you should know. He will still give a fine. You say, I didn't know. It's our duty to find out. So if we don't know what is the standard, we should find out. So, vikarma, the reactions we get for sinful activities. And then there's karma, that is when we do acts according to the scriptures, but we do them for our benefit, that I want something, I want to enjoy the result of the work. That is karma. So you do some good karma, it can take you to higher planets, you can enjoy material opulence, you can be prosperous, you can be successful in the material life if you have good karma. Right? But it's temporary, it's not eternal. It's going to be there for some time and then it will be finished. And when you try to do good karma, often you do something wrong, there'll be some bad karma. Just like in the Krishna book, there's a story about King Nriga. And King Nriga was giving charity. He was giving many cows in charity to brahmanas. So it was the highest charity. But one day, by mistake, one of the cows, which he gave to one brahmana, one cow went in the cows given to another brahmana. And both brahmanas claimed, this is my cow. The king gave this cow to me. And they went to the king and they complained that, what, you gave me this cow, you gave the same cow to him. And the king said, I will give you both 10,000 more cows. They both said, no, I only want that cow. And because they vowed they would only take charity one time, so they wouldn't take any more charity. So the king had to suffer for stealing from a brahmana. That's very sinful, to steal from a brahmana. And as a result of that, when he had to suffer for his sin, he became a lizard in a well. He was in a well with no water, in the bottom of a big well with no water, in the body of a big lizard. So that was the punishment he got for that one mistake, one little mistake. He done so much good charity, but one little mistake unknowingly brought him that reaction. So karmic activity is very risky. We want to be very careful to avoid karmic activity. How to avoid karmic activities? We have to do akarma, means no karma, no reactions. And how to do that? You have to work for the pleasure of Vishnu or Krishna, and then you don't get any reactions. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, the work will bind you to the material world. So we should always work for the pleasure of the Lord. And then that is akarma, frees us from the reaction. So this is one qualification. And another qualification which is mentioned, that they're ever satisfied. being satisfied is the quality of a Brahmana. Brahmanas will be satisfied in any condition. They may be prosperous, they may be poor, they may be in good health, they may be in bad health. Whatever situation they're in, they will accept it all as the arrangement of Lord Krishna. Just like Sudama Brahman. Sudama Brahmana was very poor. He had no food. But he wouldn't go and beg. Although Brahmanas are allowed to beg, he wouldn't go to beg. He would just, well, if food comes, if food doesn't come, we will just starve. So he and his wife were both starving. They had no food. So the wife suggested, Lord Krishna is your friend. Why don't you go to Dwarka? Go and see him. So Sudama thought, oh, that would be nice. I'd like to go and see Krishna. But I'm not going to ask him for anything. Sudama thought, I will go there, but I'm not going to ask him for anything. So before he went there, he thought, I cannot go empty-handed, but I have nothing to give him. What can I give him? So then they went to a neighbor and they begged some dry rice, some dry grains of cracked rice, not good rice in other words. And the neighbor gave this rice to them. And so Sudama wrapped it in a cloth and he went off to Dwarka. And he went to Dwarka and he met with Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna had been in the ashram, in the Gurukula with Sudama. So they were friends from the Gurukula days. They had been together. And when Lord Krishna was actually with his wife, Rukmini, and they were sitting in their palace, and Sudama came there. And Lord Krishna saw Sudama coming, and he's in old clothes, and he's very dirty, his clothes were all ragged, and he was so thin. And Lord Krishna saw him, and Lord Krishna immediately brought him in, sat him down on his bed, and then Lord Krishna washed his feet, and then Lord Krishna offered arti to him, worshipped him, because Lord Krishna always respects the Brahmanas, right? Lord Krishna respects the cows and the Brahmanas. Namo Brahmana Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. That Lord Krishna is very dear to the cows and the Brahmanas. So Lord Krishna, when the Brahmana came there, Sudama came, Lord Krishna worshipped him. Lord Krishna is showing an example for all of us how we should also respect the Brahmanas. So Lord Krishna worshipped him, and then he fed him. He bought some nice food and fed him nice prasadam. And then they were talking together, and Lord Krishna was describing how they'd been together in the Gurukula. And one day the two of them had gone in the forest to collect the wood, because they would always burn the sacrificial fire, and they need to have dry wood for the fire. So they had gone into the forest to collect the wood, but when they were in the forest, suddenly a thunderstorm came, and heavy rain, and it became very dark. And Sudama and Krishna couldn't find their way back to the Gurukula. And they had to spend the whole night in the forest. Did you ever stay in the forest all night? Sometimes they will send the young men to go and stay in the forest just to test how much courage and bravery they have. Because in the forest, please take care of your son. In the forest there's many creatures in the night, and they'll make a lot of sounds. You know, there's some creatures that are only active in the night. The jackal, the owl, these kind of creatures, they they wake up in the night. The jackal only eats in the night. It doesn't eat in the day. And so, to be in the forest at night, also the snakes are more active in the night. And sometimes even tigers are around also. So it's very dangerous to be in the forest. So, Sudama and Krishna spent the whole night there. And then the next morning, Sandipani Muni came. Sandipani Muni came with all the children from the Gurukula because they saw that Krishna and Sudama hadn't come home the whole night. So they came to look for them. They came to look for the two of them. Where could they be? And then they found them. And Sudama and Krishna were so happy to be with their teacher and all the schoolboys again. And the teacher, Sandipani Muni, he was the guru in the Gurukula. He told them that I'm so grateful to you, that you have sacrificed so much for my service. So he said, I'm so grateful to you. I bless you that you'll always remember all the mantras I've taught you. So Lord Krishna was remembering this and he was telling Sudama, do you remember that, Sudama, how we were in the forest the whole night together? And this way they remembered their days in the Gurukula. And Lord Krishna said to Sudama, you must have brought something for me. What did you bring? And Sudama, he felt ashamed to give the rice he brought for Krishna because it was very bad, very poor quality rice. He was ashamed. But Krishna knew he had brought something, so Krishna he got that rice and he took some crumbs of it and ate it. And then after he ate some of it, then Rukmini came and she told him, don't take any more. That's enough. You've already satisfied him. By taking that, we will have to repay him. Because Sudama gave everything he had. He had nothing. And he went and got something from somebody else, and that was given to Krishna. So he'd given everything for Krishna. So when you give something to Krishna, Krishna repays. Krishna gives back whatever. So the goddess of fortune repays that devotee. So Rukmini told Krishna, you've already taken enough, you don't need to take any more. And then the next, Sudama stayed the night there with Krishna, and then the next day he bid farewell. He said, I will go back, have to go back to my wife. So happy to see Krishna. And he never asked Krishna for anything. But when he got home, he saw his whole home had been transformed. That his little house had become a palace, and there were servants. And his wife came in beautiful clothing with jewelry, and he was amazed to see how everything had been transformed. And he was surprised, how could it all happen? He understood it was only by the mercy of Krishna that this was possible. So, Sudama shows an example. He was fully satisfied in whatever condition he was. Even though Krishna gave him so much opulence, he accepted everything in the mood of renunciation. He didn't think this is for my enjoyment, but he accepted it all in the spirit of renunciation. And now if you go there to this place where Sudama's from, it's a town in Gujarat in India. There's a temple there. There's a nice temple in honor of Sudama, the Brahmin, who was so devoted, who was a dear friend of Lord Krishna. So he's an example of someone who's satisfied and independent. Swarat, mentioned in the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Janmadhyasya navayat itaratas chartishu abhigyana swarat. Abhigyana Swarat. Lord Krishna is actually really Abhigyana Swarat. But the Brahmanas also, who are surrendered to Krishna, they are also Abhigyana Swarat. They are also independent and in full knowledge. They're independent, they don't depend on anyone. They simply take shelter of Lord Krishna. So that is real independence. And so because they're in that condition, they're fully happy, they're fully satisfied. And when they perform activities, there's no karma, no reactions. So that is what we want. We don't want to be caught in the net of material activities with reactions. We want to get free from karma. In order to go back to Godhead, in order to get out of the material world, we have to get free of karma. And how to get free of karma? Simply by devotional service, by engaging in acts of bhakti yoga. Whatever we do, do it for the pleasure of Krishna. We don't have to change our activities, but we have to change the consciousness. Instead of doing it for our own satisfaction and for our own pleasure, do it for Krishna. And in that way, there will be no reactions. So we get free of karma. All right? Is there any questions? Yes?
How can we make sure to dedicate the work we do to Krishna? Is there like a self-check we can do?
Yeah. How can we make sure that we're dedicating our work to Krishna? Well, you have to know what is pleasing to Krishna, right? We should work for his pleasure. You can't work in the butcher's shop for Krishna. You know, that will not be very pleasing to Krishna if you work in the butcher's shop. We should work. And we should work in a manner which we can actually please Krishna. If every day you're killing the cow, that is not pleasing to Krishna. So we have to learn how to what is pleasing to Krishna. And we have to work in a manner which is pleasing to Krishna. Whatever we do, we should do it for Krishna's pleasure. Just like if you're a student, then you want to be a good student. You know, you should do the work conscientiously. You should do all the work and you should do well in the exams and so on like that. You should be a good student. And if you're working in a job, whatever work you're doing, you should do it nicely, that people will appreciate you. That, oh, that this Mataji is a good worker. She's responsible, she's reliable, she's conscientious. In this way, people will appreciate the devotee, that, oh, she's a very good worker. And why? Because she's a devotee, because she's Krishna conscious. So she's working, she's not just working for the company, she's working for Krishna. She's doing it for Krishna. So people will appreciate that, oh, Krishna conscious devotees are good workers. They come on time, they're responsible, they're honest, they do everything nicely. That's a devotee. Prabhupada was on television and the interviewer asked him, how would I recognize a Krishna conscious devotee? Prabhupada said, oh, he will be a perfect gentleman. In other words, behave very nicely, that people will appreciate, oh, these Hare Krishna people are very good people, very nice people. And so similarly, you work in a job, you do it nicely, do it conscientiously, that people appreciate. that is pleasing. And if the people know that you're a devotee, then they'll say, oh, Hare Krishna people are good people, they're good workers. And that is pleasing to Krishna. Just like in Australia, one time, there was a fire in the building. So the devotees were nearby and they came with sheets and they held out the sheets and the people jumped off the building into the sheets. And it came in the newspaper, Hare Krishna devotees to the rescue. Prabhupada said, this is very good publicity. Prabhupada liked it. He said, very good publicity. He wanted that, you know, we should get good publicity. But of course, sometimes we would get bad publicity. And Prabhupada said, well, they're chanting Hare Krishna. They're saying Hare Krishna. Even they're saying Hare Krishna people are bad, but they're saying Hare Krishna, so it's good for them, because they're chanting the name of the Lord. But if you can get good publicity, that is better. We want to get good publicity. So pleasing Krishna, pleasing the public, if the public appreciate the Hare Krishna movement, it's very good. Yes?
What about results of our activities? Like if we going to job, we get some money, some resources, power, and should we use this for Krishna? Because I remember Prabhupada once said to one businessman, actually he said to devotees, he said that because this businessman, he thinks that everything belongs to him, he works and then he enjoys results. And he said, he don't know that everything belongs to Krishna. It means if a person knows that everything belongs to Krishna, he will use whatever he has in his life for Krishna pleasure. Can you explain this, please?
Everything belongs to Krishna, so?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people they think that I work for Krishna, but they actually don't use fruits of their activity for Krishna. They attach the fruits, they get money and different things, and they use for their pleasure. Isn't it Krishna conscious?
Yes, of course. People may be working and saying, yeah, I'm doing it for Krishna, but they don't give the result to Krishna. Well, but still the consciousness is there that I'm working for Krishna. So there's some level of karma yoga there, there's some devotion there. It may not be the highest, but there's some level of consciousness there. Just the fact that they're saying, I'm working for Krishna. They may not give but they may use the result of their work to maintain their Krishna conscious home. Just like in their home, they may have a deity, or they have an altar, or they have a family, so their family need to have also prasadam, they need to eat and so on. And so in that way, you know, it's being used for Krishna's service. Everything which is cooked at home, it can be offered to Krishna, it's prasadam. So used for Krishna. So a devotee is not neglectful of responsibilities. It's working for Krishna. It doesn't mean you neglect your family. You have to provide for the family, take care of them. And so, how much grihasthas are supposed to give to Krishna? That's a debatable thing. Was it Rupa Goswami? Rupa Goswami he retired and he had a lot of money, and he divided it, and he gave half for the service of the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas, and 25% went for the family, and 25% for emergencies. He had a lot of money, a huge amount of money, so 25% was a lot of money for the family. He was leaving home, so he left for the family members 25%. And he kept 25% for emergency, and half went to the Krishna consciousness, or people, and the Brahmanas. So somebody's working in a job, are they required to you know, naturally they should give something for the service of Krishna. How much they should give, it will vary, you know. How much can people give? The wealthy businessman should give. It's the people with a lot of money, they should give. They're supposed to give. If they have a business, they have a factory and like that, these are the ones who are supposed to give. And even today now in India, they have a law that every company which is making a lot of, which you know has a profit, they have to give so much percentage has to be spent in the service of charity and to do welfare work in the country. It's a law now. This Mahendra Modi has passed a bill like that all the companies are required to give like 20% in welfare for welfare work and performing charity. But ordinary people who are just, you know, they don't get much money to live on. You know, how much have they got to live on? They have to pay for so many things, and they have so many responsibilities. They just can make ends meet. They can just barely survive to pay rents and to pay for the children's education, and then sometimes you have to go to hospital and doctors, you have to pay medical bills, and so many things, so many expenses are there. So to expect ordinary people to give money, you know, it's difficult, very difficult. Of course, some people do it, like Kolaveka Sridhar in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. Kolaveka Sridhar is there. You know, he was a very poor man, and his only income was from selling bananas. He had some banana trees, and he could sell some bananas and banana leaves and banana flour. But every day he would spend half of his income to worship Ganga. Every day he would spend half of his income worshipping Ganga. So that was exceptional. No, if you ask ordinary people to spend 50% of their income, no, who can do it? You know, nobody can do it. They don't make enough money to ask them to spend 50%. Very difficult, impossible practically. Yes.
Махарадж, хочу вас спросить, Господь Курукшетра проходит каждую Кали-югу, для того, чтобы тогда, когда проходит почитание. Это битва Курукшетра.
Это же было с Кришной связано. Ну ладно,
это любит.
You're asking about Kurukshetra battle. Is it happening every Kali Yuga or only when Lord Chaitanya is coming?
Only when Lord Chaitanya. No. I don't know. I think every Kali Yuga. Well, I don't know about Kurukshetra, but Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita goes on continually. Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita right now in some other universe. So that is going on. But I don't know about Kurukshetra. Maybe. Yeah, but certainly businessmen doing business, you know, they're just thinking about making money, and next life they'll become a mouse or a rat in the factory. You know, if they're just attached to the factory, attached to making money, then the next life is very risky, that they could take birth in that factory as some rat. So that is the result of trying to enjoy the karma, trying to enjoy the results of your work. You become attached, and then next life, you don't know where you're going to be. So we encourage people Try to become Krishna conscious. Prabhupada never told people, you have to give 50%, you have to do this. He said that was a standard, but Prabhupada never enforced that on people. He didn't tell George Harrison, you have to give 50%. But he preached to him, and George bought the Bhakti Vighna Vinasa just because Prabhupada was preaching to him. He wanted to do it. And so if we make friends with people, cultivate people, they'll naturally want to give money, whatever they can, according to their means. But if you tell them you have to give 50%, then that will be difficult. You'll make enemies.
My point was about this, not about giving money to temple or to some, but about using results for Krishna. We can use results in different ways, not necessarily we can give to temple. It means we use, instead of using this for our personal enjoyment, we're using for Krishna. Either this our family or something, but what is connected to Krishna. This is fine. But sometimes the people, they make this cheating. They use religion to make excuses of the material, these desires. They think, okay, I think about Krishna, but what does it mean thinking? Because sometimes they make a show, I'm a devotee, but really they're just enjoying. They just, come to temple, but all their life using for enjoyment. And this is like what they entangle in this world, and then they suffer because they don't use for Krishna pleasure.
Well, Krishna says, as you surrender to me, I reward you accordingly. And so it's up to every individual. But if they're coming to temple, and they're thinking of Krishna, there's some connection there with Krishna. And Krishna will arrange. Krishna will arrange for them to come to him. Sometimes Krishna takes everything away from people and forces them to surrender to him. That's Krishna's special mercy. And so, we don't know what is people's attitude. Some people may be very devoted in their heart, but you don't know, they don't show it. And, we may think, they're just in Maya, they're just attached, and they're not doing it for Krishna. But in their heart, they may actually feel a love for Krishna. So we don't know actually what is their attitude. But at the time of death, it's all revealed. That is the real test, the end of life. But we don't know really what are people thinking, what are they doing. So we don't want to judge them, but we just preach, keep preaching. Keep talking about what we should be doing and how we have to do it for Krishna. And we have to encourage, and we have to show the example ourselves. We have to show an example ourselves that we're doing everything, we're trying to give everything to Krishna. And that example itself is very encouraging for others. They need to see the example. They need to see devotees sacrificing for Krishna. And then they will also be encouraged to want to sacrifice, to want to help. So example is important.
Maharaj, Prabhupada used to give the example that when that the Krishna, when he takes in 10 hands or many hands, and you cannot able to protect or keep, when he's taking. And when he gives in so many hands, you don't know how to manage as he gives, right? I think that's why he gives that example when he was trying to give up his work, he has to give up his work trying to protect his business, but he couldn't. Everything was taken away, and to the point that nothing he had. But when time came, Krishna gave everything. so much more. But in our lives, we do tend to experience that. For my personal view, and maybe some of the devotees, when we take Krishna consciousness and we try to offer work, we feel that sometimes a lot of things is taken from us. Right? We're not able to keep. Sometimes we try to protect, but there's so many expenses, so many things and come. But when things turn around, there's a difficulty faces being a devotee, but after time it gets better. Is it sometimes that in your experience with other devotees feel the same way? It's like a process that we all go through? The difficulty period as you take up Krishna consciousness, you try to purify the work that you do and offer to Krishna or to Vishnu.
Well, it may be like that for some people, but not necessarily for everyone. Not necessarily true that it's a process that everyone has to go through. It's going to be different for different people, according to how they surrender. We don't know what is Krishna's plan. Krishna makes arrangements for people. He makes arrangements. Some people, he gives them a real heavy time, a real hard time, and some people seem to have it so easy. We don't know why, you know. It's all up to Krishna. We just have to depend on Krishna. It must be, of course, something to do with the past, our past karma. So Krishna knows everything. He knows how to deal with everybody, to get the most out of them, to get them to surrender. Okay, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakti Vighna ki.